Right guys, welcome to another video here at Alpha Teens. Today we're going to be talking about having a mindful mind. What is it all about, especially in this generation with TikTok? I feel like people are getting depressed just from watching TikTok. So how can we have the mindful mind in our lives, with our friends, wherever we go, in our businesses, every single aspect of our life? What is having a mindful mind? And I have got Mr. Somebody. He'll introduce himself.
How's it, guys? My name is TK, and here to talk about, like what Kuda said, having a mindful mind. I myself have gone through a journey of mental health, and I've overcome, and I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to do so.
Yeah, there you go. So that's Takunda there. And by the way, guys, so he has got amazing clothing that he has. So we're going to link all his products down there and his clothing right down there. So you can go click. And some of his music, this guy sings, you know.
That's right.
Yeah, we have a singer, rap. There's a difference. So go check out and support him out there and go buy some products down there, some clothing for yourself. Very nice. Fuego fits.
Yes, Fuego fits.
Fuego fits. Right. So talking about a mindful mind, especially at university, a lot of people here, we have a lot of people that are in first year university, but at the same time doing the matric. And most of the questions that we get is, hey, how can I keep a balance between the two of these things? Number one being, we also want to continue doing what we do and going to school, but at the same time want to keep also our work side happy and balanced. So how can we best do that?
I think it starts off with paying attention to your thoughts and emotions. Those two things are very, very important and very crucial. The thought side of it is actually based on what you allow. So the content that you're consuming, the types of friendships that you have, people you're surrounding yourself with, the type of music you listen to, all that affects your thought process and your thought life. And so you need to make sure that you intentionally allowing the things in your mind that are going to affect your future. So for example, if you are looking into being an entrepreneur and you're looking into starting a business and opening up the creative side of your mind, then that's the type of content that you should be consuming. You should be watching motivational videos on how people who've been there and done that have done those same things. You shouldn't be listening to people who've got nothing to do with where you want to go. And so that's very important. So that's thoughts. And then your emotions. Emotions are very important. So, emotions do not control or rule our lives, because emotions can be very misleading. At times you could feel a certain way, even though you're going in the right direction. You could feel demotivated. You could look at social media, compare yourself to other people and feel discouraged, feel like you haven't made it, feel like you've been wasting your time. And so it's important to acknowledge feelings, but not let feelings determine the course of your life. So with feelings, what you need to do is set daily reminders and goals that you can always read and look back at daily. So you have these things that tell you about your identity, about where you want to go, about what you see yourself as. And as you constantly go back to these things, they will ultimately overrule your emotions. And that way your emotions don't control your entire life.
Wow, that's absolutely incredible. I mean, check our previous video where we spoke about businesses and everything, and one of the things that we spoke about in there as well is a lot of people, they allow certain circumstances to hold them back. I like to give an example of myself. I used to be a very shy person. I'm still a shy person, and I don't like interacting with people. I'm not a people's person. But you'd be surprised to know that 99.9% of the things I do involves people. But here's the trick, is that I do not allow that to hold me back. I don't allow me being shy, me not being able to speak to people, to hold me back, but it doesn't determine my success. I cannot let something hold me back because I don't like people. Oh, I'm a NIF, whatever. We're even putting titles around it now, and it's turning to such a thing whereby people are not achieving what they want to achieve. You're not achieving the goal that you want to achieve because you've put yourself into this bubble where you say, oh no, I'm this and this. And you gotta be able to switch it off and on to say, hey, listen, there's moments where I have to come out of my comfort zone and do what I need to do and achieve what I need to achieve. So do keep that in mind, and it's vitally important for you. Anyway, moving on, especially school, guys, how do you deal with stress levels? Because wow, sometimes it can be intense, especially for first year university, or maybe you're doing your last year, whatever year that you're doing, and you're saying, listen, I'm finding it hard because I'm getting lots of assignments and I'm not having free time, I'm not doing this. How can you do this, in order for you to have a balance, especially when it comes to school?
I think school comes down to time and sacrifice. Because with school, you've got, for example, assignments, you've got certain work that you have to do, and so you know what needs to be done by when. And so you take that and you basically manage your time. So you say, if you get up at 6 every morning and you're finding that you don't have enough time, sacrifice and say, I'm gonna start getting up at 4 and I'll start sleeping earlier, so that I still get the same amounts of sleep, but then I don't compromise on my health, but at the same time I don't compromise on my school. And so you get a nice balance. 6 hours of sleep is enough. 10 to 4, you sleep at 10, you wake up at 4, you have 2 hours of extra time that you have before you actually need to start getting ready for whatever you need to do. And then throughout your day, you have to be intentional about how you're spending your time. You find that if you actually had to break it down, you find that there's a lot of time spent on social media, Instagram. You know about what's happening everywhere. There's a lot of time spent listening to music, a lot of time spent joking around and chilling with your friends. All that is not bad in itself, but it becomes bad when that's more of the things that take up your time instead of your schooling. And so you can dedicate time to things like that. If you want to go on social media, just say, you know what, 30 minutes a day I'll dedicate to Instagram, TikTok, and watching YouTube videos. That's more than enough time. Because and also the type of content you're watching is also important, like what we mentioned earlier. But just dedicating and dividing up your day into segments will help you so much. And especially in the long run, you'll see that a lot of the time you won't feel the immediate change, but as you do that in the long run, you'll see that there's a big gap that you'll begin to build between you and your peers.
Well, I also want to add on something that I've actually spent a lot of time studying. I'm a big believer when it comes to understanding the psychological mind of things and how our mind works. And there's this book that I read, and it's such an amazing thing that he says in there. And it speaks about the youth, how the first thing we do when we get up is look at our social media, look at what's trending. But here comes the negative side to it, is you basically adjust to the temperature of what's going on. So if you go on social media right now, the first thing you do when you get up is you have no emotion of what's going on with the day. You're not in sync with what's happening, who's what, and what bad news is going on. So you're neutral because you don't know, right? The immediate thing when you go on social media and you see negative things, you're adjusting to the temperature of that, right? So you become negative just from you going through your social media and seeing negative things. And remember that now it's going to affect your day, but it didn't have to, because you just adjusted to the temperature of what's happening on your phone. So the best thing I usually like to do for myself is I want to put my phone away for at least the first 1 hour of my day, because I want to be in control of how I feel. I don't want to adjust to whatever is happening around the world, so that I'm more in tune with how I am feeling. Because the moment I start watching other people, someone said, immediately I'm feeling sad, not because I am. You know what I'm saying? So get out of social media, and especially in your early days of the morning, so that you don't adjust, right? So that you're able to really identify how you're feeling about your day, and so that you can go on with the rest of your day in a peaceful, easy way. You gotta be in sync with your emotions and everything throughout your entire day. It's very important for you to do that. Moving on, there is this pressure, especially just straight after high school, of finding your career. You know, what am I going to study? And all these different fields. And the worst part, everyone has an idea of what you should do. The other day I was teaching, literally I left off stage and someone came to me and was like, oh, after high school you should be a teacher. I was like, huh? And then one day I was presenting something again and someone was like, oh no, you should be a radio presenter. And everyone has a title for you. So how can we, especially as a youth, sometimes we don't know how we feel, so we end up going with other people's, choices. How can we better be in control of that?
Yeah, I think it comes down to knowing yourself. You have to know what you are passionate about, what you enjoy doing, what you can envision yourself doing 24 hours. A lot of people say, and you might have heard this before, is that, the dream job is one that doesn't actually feel like a job. you know, where you're going there and
yeah.
it's just your passion. It's just pure passion. You're enjoying every minute of it. And, you know, for me, for example, I can, you know, when I make music, like Kuda mentioned earlier, I'm a rapper. And when I make music sometimes, when I'm producing, when I'm writing raps, I find that time flies so fast. I don't even know how it happens. You know, I start doing my thing and the next thing, the day's over and I'm like, what? You know, I've totally enjoyed every second of it. And, you know, I've worked in admin offices as well. And when I compared the two, there was a time, I remember the specific day when I was working in an admin office. I felt every second of that day. I was looking at the time more than I was actually doing anyway. I was checking the time, like, this time is not moving, you know? I hated every second of it, you know? And so you have to, step one is you have to know yourself, understand what are your passions, what do you enjoy doing, what stimulates your creative side, you know, and things like that. And I think the second thing in knowing really which direction you want to go or what career path to take is heavily involved around your childhood as well. You know, a lot of the time when we are young, we don't realize it, but when we are young, especially like I'll say under the ages of 8 years old, we're drawn so much to our identity. More than the way we are now. Because now we've been influenced. We've got our friends, we've got the people that come to you after you're on stage. You've got social media, you've got people's opinions, you've got will this make me enough money? Will this all that stuff affects. So what you really need to look at is, because I remember when I was just 6 years old, I was part of a play. You know, I was part of a play, and that was something that influenced my life today. When I look back on it, I said, wait, what? I was part of a play? And just 2 years ago in 2021, I went and studied acting.
Wow.
I got doors opened in that area. I was actually part of a movie that's on Showmax, titled The Wrong Girl. You know? And so that's like, all because I looked back, and it's kind of like identifying with your roots and who you truly are. That also helps, and I found that really helped in my experience.
Wow, one of the things, I mean, that's incredible, practical advice that you can actually take there yourself there. But also one of the things that I've also learned is mainly looking at your everyday tasks, right? Especially if you're choosing a career, look into the tasks that you're going to be doing, not in general, but on a daily. So what I mean by this is, let's say you want to be a doctor, which at a point I wanted to be, which is very interesting, a story for another day. But anyway, the task of a doctor is to see patients 24 hours, right? Now, at a certain point, your first year might be interesting, but it's different things, cases. But over time, you start to see the same thing over and over and over again. You can imagine how many injections you're just giving out. You know, you can just imagine, but it's you sitting down, every patient, you're gonna say, what's your name? What are you, and it's the same thing, and it becomes boring. Now, when you look at your everyday tasks, you're able to determine, hey, I think this is not for me. Because you're looking at, okay, overall, I'm not gonna enjoy it in the long run. If you, unless you like doing that, then kudos to you, go for it, right? But let's say you're a person who likes doing multiple different things. Being a doctor might not be for you, because you're not gonna be changing what you do all the time, just the same things over and over again. That's where you realize maybe being an entrepreneur might be good for you, because you can have multiple businesses and change your scenery over and over again. There's those people who don't like being in the same place. So when you look at being an accountant, you're in the same room over and over again. So when you look at your everyday tasks, you're able to determine and actually scratch out some things to say, okay, this is entirely not for me, this is not for me. And from there, you're able to at least narrow down what you want to study, and from there make a more informed decision on what you can do right there. Yeah, I hope it's going to be practical for you. Do take some advice. And hey, if you're getting value, subscribe, smash that like button. It helps us, because I plan on buying a yacht. So, and we can't do that. We can't do that if they don't subscribe, can we? So subscribe right there. But moving on to another thing, and I want to speak a little bit on peer pressure, because I mean, I used to believe peer pressure used to be a physical thing, where it's my friend that, like, right now I see you at school, but I have entirely changed my mind. It's a social media thing now. you know, where peer pressure is the biggest thing right now on social media. You like someone that you see, or you do whatever, something that you see, and you start following in the trends, not realizing that it's actually causing certain things to you. So how can we be mindful, especially when it comes to social media, about what we watch, what we do, and what are some of the practical ways we can actually take to make sure that we're not putting ourselves in these positions where we're being influenced in the wrong ways?
Yeah, it comes down to being intentional, being purposeful about everything, and being realistic. And the reason why I say that, I actually just want to talk about being realistic for a while. The reason why I say realistic is because social media is full of unrealistic content, unrealistic lives. People are showing you the best version of themselves, the best angle. The final
right
product.
now.
Like if you guys could see the lighting that's here right now, the all these paintings are just how amazing this thing looks, and you check the background.
What's going on?
Same place. You know what I'm saying? That's the nature of social media.
Wow.
Even when you're scrolling through Instagram, you seeing the best version of people, the best angle at the best time with the best lighting, and now you're comparing that to your worst self.
Oh, wow.
You're comparing that to the worst version of yourself, and you're like, I can never be like this. Or I'm so far from this.
Yeah.
Or I've missed the mark. Or I've wasted my time. Wrong. You have to be realistic, and you have to look at social media in those realistic lens in order for that not to affect you. You can see a person's nice picture, nice whatever, and you just say, okay, wow, good for them. But I know that this is not reality. This is a part of it, but it's not fully reality. What you see, you cannot see someone's life in one picture.
Wow.
You cannot see someone's entire life in one video. You don't know the struggles that those people go through. You don't know the means that they use to get those things. You know, a lot of people were surprised. I was actually a South African artist. You might know the story, but there's this South African artist who used to rent cars, right? He used to do these rentals of these supercars, and he used to post pictures of them and make it seem like they were he. You know, he just do these rentals, and then so one day the guy who was working at that rental company was like, you know, he remembered that, wait, I've come across this guy's social media, and this guy is always coming in here. Is this what he's doing?
Oh my goodness!
And so he exposed him, and it was just so embarrassing, you know. But that's just part of it. That's life, really.
Wow.
You know, that's what people do. That's the extent people go to be accepted, to be followed, to be looked at as an icon or as a legend or as whatever. That's the extent that people go to. So yeah.
There you go, guys. It's very vitally important for you to actually filter some of these things. I think when we're watching content, we need to be able to filter some of the things that's coming into our eyes, because many times you are just you're just consuming rubbish and junk. And to be honest, as TK said previously in the beginning, is what you watch, right? Because if I'm interested in a particular product, whatever, I gotta put myself in a position where I'm educating myself. I always say, take advantage of social media. If there's one thing I can tell you, is that there's a lot to learn when it comes to social media. There's a lot of skills. You know, you can learn editing from social media, but can I be honest with you? You're losing jobs because you're not learning something you can just watch a video on right now. You know, you take advantage of it. How many of you have struggled with the subject? What? Oh, YouTube. YouTube is the biggest school that's out there, and people can take advantage of that. But we choose not to, because we just want to entertain ourselves or live in, as you said, this unrealistic world that you're living in. So be mindful of those things. And please, if you finding value here, smash that like button, subscribe, because we're going to be inviting more other people. And if you want to start a business or someone interested in business, check this video up here where we had a guest speaker who shared some incredible information up there, and you guys are awesome. So anyway, wrapping up, you want to also conclude with family. You know, family can be the biggest influence. It actually is the biggest influence that a child has. Whether that be your school decision, the subjects that you're studying, the career path that you're taking, your parents come to it. And what can we do? Sometimes it can be very difficult for you to tell your parent what you want to do, you know, and it can be very challenging. But what ways can we do this? Because sometimes our parents can be right, or they could be wrong, not understanding us. So what is the best way to balance these two things?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and quite a tough one.
Yeah.
You know, because what makes it a tough question, you just mentioned now, they could be right, and
Yeah.
and you do your own thing, and they were right, or they're wrong, then you do what they do, and
it falls apart.
you know,
Yeah.
and then it falls apart.
Yeah.
I think the best thing in this situation is you have to have a list of advantages and disadvantages, right? And you sit with them, look at it with them, because don't just look at it on your own, because then that's biased. Because
Yeah.
obviously you're gonna lean more towards what you want to do.
Yeah.
So you have to look at things like the financial side.
Yes.
So from your parents' perspective, how much is this thing gonna be that I'm studying?
Wow.
Okay. You look at that. Then the other side of the finances is, if I do get this qualification, if I do get this job, how much is it going to pay me? What's the income
looking like?
Then you look at what we spoke about earlier, passion. You look at, what am I more passionate about? You know, what do I see myself doing on a day-to-day basis continuously?
Sure, yeah.
Number 3, you have to look at the job opportunities in that specific field. Don't just go for things because you saw something that's happening in Switzerland and then you think, yeah, here in Africa it's gonna work. No, you'll be there with your degree in the streets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to also look at those things. Is there high demand for this kind of job right now in this country? So you look at those and there's many more that you can really go and Google simply. Advantages and disadvantages of certain things. And once you weigh that, you have to look at what has more advantages.
Sure.
You know, and you'd rather go for that instead of just making an impulsive emotional decision.
Yeah.
You'd rather make a rational, logical decision.
Oh wow, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you liked it. Do check out Fuego Fits down here and some of the music. We're gonna post that. Go support TK with amazing clothing line that he has there, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Alpha Teens, bye.
Peace.